The most valuable thing I could impart to new filmmakers is what I always say: find your own voice. Be true to that voice. Never give up final cut and total creative freedom.
Early this year, cinema lost one of its most talented dream weavers. David Lynch was a filmmaker unlike any other. His work was often described as strange, mysterious, dreamlike, even nightmarish. After experiencing one of his films, you're bound to ask yourself, what does this all mean? Unlike other filmmakers who love to overindulge when asked about the meaning of their films, David Lynch always maintained the mystery of his work. He famously refused to explain his films and would offer even more baffling responses when asked. But he wasn't purposely trying to frustrate audiences and eager journalists, nor was this a cynical method of him promoting his films. His silence was an integral part of his artistic approach. Welcome to Filmodernia. My name is Florabelle, and today we are discussing the great David Lynch and his creative philosophy. This video is not about explaining the meaning of his films. Instead, I hope to encourage you to embrace the mystery and to create your own interpretation, just like Lynch would have wanted.
Believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Why we'll elaborate on that?
No, I won't.
This is one of my favorite David Lynch moments. It perfectly epitomizes his philosophy. While other filmmakers will gladly reveal their trail of symbolic breadcrumbs, Lynch rejected every opportunity to tell the audience what to think. His approach aligns well with the death of the author concept. From French literary critic Roland Barthes, this theory argues that an artist's intent is not the be-all and end-all. It should not overshadow the personal interpretation of the audience. This approach opposes the common practice of analyzing art by dissecting the life of the artist, or by accepting the artist's own explanation as the one true meaning of the work. In David Lynch's autobiography, he claims that a film is a living thing. It takes on its own life. Like a child leaving home, once art enters the world, it breaks free from its creator's intentions. When Lynch refused to explain his work, he was acknowledging this profound truth. So how does this perspective change the way we experience his films? Instead of searching online for the correct explanation, ask yourself how the movie resonates with you. What thoughts, feelings, or memories did these images and sounds uncover? Just as no two people share identical dreams, each viewer emerges from a Lynch film carrying a unique constellation of meanings. These meanings are shaped by the varying life experiences, beliefs, aspirations, and fears of each person. Through each viewer's unique experience, Lynch's work touched universal truths while also speaking to our shared humanity.
The whole thing is that if people think that that I would get pleasure out of confusing someone or confounding them, that is, a bad way to think, because it's not that way. I'm trying to stay true to the ideas, translate them to film in a way that feels correct. And so some of these ideas are more abstract than others. But we have this beautiful thing called intuition. And abstractions exist way more in real life, so-called real life.
Whenever audiences begged David Lynch to decode his films, he would dodge the question and instead encourage them to trust their own intuition. Through the years, his response never wavered, always returning to what he beautifully defined as
the intellect and emotions swimming together. It's like a knowingness.
In his world, Understanding came not from explanation, but instead from that profound space where feeling and thinking merge into true clarity.
Life is filled with abstractions, and the way we make heads or tails of it is through intuition.
Yet, in an era where audiences are accustomed to overt morals and clear-cut heroes and villains, many have forgotten how to embrace abstract ideas. The typical Hollywood movie may satisfy our desire for closure and a clear resolution, but they also stifle our capacity for imagination and intuition. This lack of exposure to complex and ambiguous ideas has a profound effect. We can become frustrated and even antagonistic towards something that we can't understand right away. And unfortunately for us, real life is far more complicated than the average Hollywood movie. Our conflicts rarely have simple, clean solutions that can be solved in 2 hours. Our lives are woven with questions, doubts, and uncertainties that can take a lifetime to unravel, if they ever are fully resolved. Lynch expertly recreated the mystery of real life in his films. He presented a world that is messy, complex, and uncertain, a world that reflected the chaos and beauty of our own lives. There is a sense of authenticity in his films, as we witness a genuine, unpolished portrayal of the human experience. To truly grasp the essence of his work, we must tap into our inner wisdom and intuition, the same resources we use to make sense of our own complicated lives.
In the case of Lost Highway, I'd say David. So, am I playing 2 different people? Yes. Is one of them a ghost? Is one a hallucination? Are these real people? What am I playing here? I don't know, Patricia, what do you think? So I had to come up with a whole concept of what I thought Lost Highway was about.
Even with his actors, David Lynch never gave straight answers about his films. In order for Patricia Arquette to prepare for her roles in the film Lost Highway, she had to create her own interpretation, just like the audience. Instead of Lynch explaining everything to her, he empowered her to trust her instincts and travel down the route of self-discovery. Nicolas Cage perfectly encapsulated this creative philosophy in this impersonation of Lynch.
Cinema is a road. It's a dark road, and characters' feelings become obscured.
Lynch's approach to directing actors was all about inviting them on an intuitive journey. The actors must navigate the mystery of the film alongside the characters. He did not offer explicit answers, but instead gave actors all they needed to create their characters. When talking about his experience with Lynch on the film Wild at Heart, William Dafoe had this to share.
People imagine sometimes that, a good actor's director is someone that talks to you and pulls you aside and tells you how to do things. That hasn't been my experience. The best experiences are always when you get a good setup, and David Lynch gave me such a good setup.
Dafoe added that this setup gave a logic to what he was doing, allowing him to immerse himself in the world of his character. As part of the immersion, instead of makeup, Dafoe had to wear dentures for Bobby Peru's signature stumpy teeth.
I got those teeth, and it kept my mouth open like this in a way that, I was able to tap into a kind of lasciviousness, You go like this, and all of a sudden you start sitting differently, you start feeling differently. That became the key.
Wearing them made him naturally embody the right speech pattern, body language, and mannerisms.
It wasn't studied, it was kind of intuitive. But I think Bobby Peru is one of my most complete characterizations.
Through Lynch's unique directing style, intuition became the key that unlocked the complexity of each character. By creating an environment where actors were free to explore and discover rather than simply following instructions, Lynch enabled performances that were both deeply personal and hauntingly authentic. His approach proved that the most powerful artistic choices come from trusting your own creative instincts. I learned that just beneath the surface, there's another world, and still different worlds as you dig deeper. I knew it as a kid, but I couldn't find the proof. It was just a kind of feeling. There is goodness in blue skies and flowers, but another force, a wild pain and decay, also accompanies everything. David Lynch. For David Lynch, filmmaking was a journey into the human mind and soul. It was an exploration of the subconscious, that mysterious world that lies just below the surface. In the subconscious live all the beliefs, desires, fears, and memories we've tried to suppress and forget. We think we've gotten rid of these undesirable thoughts and feelings, but they are always there, just buried down below. As Lynch noted, the subconscious mind is a powerful force in shaping our creative endeavors. This world is uncharted territory for many people, but Lynch was able to tap into this hidden realm, and this is how he created his unique and unsettling films. His creative process started with catching the big fish.
Ideas are like fish. If you want to catch little fish, you can stay in the shallow water, but if you want to catch the big fish, you've got to go deeper. Down deep, the fish are more powerful and more pure. They're huge and abstract, and they're very beautiful.
This metaphor perfectly encapsulates Lynch's creative philosophy. The shallow water represents surface-level thinking and conventional ideas, while the deep water symbolizes the vast depths of the unconscious mind. This is where the most profound and transformative ideas reside. But how do we reach this place with all the big fish? Through our sleep. Every night, as consciousness slips away and our heads hit the pillow, we embark on the same journey Lynch invited us to take through his films. We dive into the vast ocean of our subconscious, where reality dissolves like salt in water and time swirls in unexpected directions. While dreaming, we slip into a world where logic bends and reality shifts, experiencing stories that defy explanation, yet feel profound in ways we can't quite articulate. This is precisely why Lynch's films have often been described as dreamlike and even nightmarish. Like our strangest dreams, his movies present scenarios that seem absurd in the light of day. Yet, while we're immersed in them, they follow their own hypnotic logic. We're left with powerful feelings and impressions that linger long after the credits roll, just as dreams haunt us through our waking hours. Cinema is the language of dreams, Lynch said, telling stories that words alone cannot convey. Just as we struggle to explain our most vivid dreams to others, Lynch's films resist simple explanation, demanding to be experienced rather than understood. There's a moment that every David Lynch fan remembers, the first time they watched one of his films. For me, it was watching Blue Velvet as a wide-eyed teenager. I was left completely bewildered and disturbed. Yet something about the film resonated with me, and I couldn't explain it. I had to delve further into his world. But after doing a lot of research for this video, I discovered something far more profound than Lynch's masterful filmmaking. I discovered an artist whose genuine kindness and humanity was even more extraordinary than his creative genius. Lynch once said, "The act of creation is an act of vulnerability," and this philosophy permeated everything he did. He opened himself completely to his creative impulses. Longtime collaborator Kyle MacLachlan described it well in his heartfelt Instagram post about Lynch's death. "What I saw in him was an enigmatic and intuitive man with the creative ocean bursting forth inside of him. He was in touch with something the rest of us wish we could get to. Lynch once said, "To truly know someone, you must immerse yourself in their work." Through this lens, Lynch's filmography reveals a complex individual who could explore the seedy darkness of humanity while still being able to see the light. His work probed the shadows of human nature, yet those who worked with him consistently described a man who was incredibly warm and supportive on set. Anyone who's ever worked with him seemed to only have good things to say. Lynch will be remembered as a revolutionary filmmaker in the history of cinema. But we should also remember him as a true example of an artist who lived fearlessly in pursuit of his creative vision. Through his work and life, he created doorways into the subconscious that will continue to inspire and challenge audiences for generations to come. He taught us that in art, as in life, the most profound truths often lie beyond what we can explain in words. It's waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to venture into the unknown.
Good morning. It's August 21, 2020. I'm wearing dark glasses today because I'm seeing the future and it's looking very bright. We might be having some clouds with us, but hopefully also some blue skies and golden sunshine. Everyone, have a great day.
Hi everyone! Thank you so much for watching my first video. I really appreciate it. I will work up on getting a second one uploaded. But for now, if you want to hear more about what I think, you can always check out my blog, Filmodernia. I'll link it at the bottom or up there. You can also see the original posts that I wrote that inspired this video. Until next time, bye everyone!